back to Good Morning Fourstates on this Thursday morning, as we like to once in a while have authors on the program who are either getting ready for book signings or just getting books that are out there. Phillip Drayer Duncan joining us this morning. The name of the book is called A Fist of Thorns. And I think what's interesting about this book, and I think this should give some encouragement to wannabe writers out there, is this is an idea that's kind of been in your mind for a long time, and finally you took the time to sit down and actually put it to paper.
Yep.
You tell us a little bit about the process, as the amount of time and when the ideas really started surfacing as opposed to when you finally sat down and wrote this.
I've been thinking about it since I was a kid, and I sat down here and there throughout different courses, different times in my life, and I finally this last year sat down last August and started from scratch and knocked it out in like 3 months.
I think that's amazing that you've had an idea that was germinating that long, and then it just kind of took you 3 months to sit down and put this out. For people who aren't familiar with the book, tell us a little bit about this, because I think this is a very interesting take on the whole wizard / supernatural community that is out there.
Well, basically it follows the story of a modern day wizard, and he's in his mid-20s, dealing with all the same things that anybody in their 20s deals with, but at the same time he's also a wizard, and most of his friends are wizards, and he just finds himself in a situation where he has to deal with vampires and werewolves and evil clowns and all kinds of other things. Yeah,
I enjoy the story about the clowns.
Right.
Because, of course, everybody always thinks of clowns as these jovial creatures, and not quite so in your book.
Not quite. They're quite evil.
And I think again, what's interesting is the fact that you've put the modern spin on it, because we were kind of talking about this, how whenever you think of wizards, you always think of these older guys with the long flowing gray hair and the robes, but here you kind of dispensed of all of this, and it's kind of funny because you got basically they're chilling at the house, having a few beers, doing barbecue, but then they've got to go out and fight supernatural forces.
Right, I always wanted to see the wizard in a very normal person, normal setting. I wanted to see something other than, the old man wizard. I wanted to see what a normal guy would be like as a wizard, so.
And I think that's another interesting aspect of it, because you actually have guys who are wizards who kind of turn their back on that community because they want to have the wife, the kids, a normal job type of thing.
Right, and they're torn between the normal life and being part of the supernatural world. And I think that was, to me, that was what I wanted. I wanted to see normal people, but in the supernatural world, with the abilities and stuff.
Of course, the interesting part is that you put the supernatural world here in the Four-State area.
Right. Yeah, I kept it close to home. I figured my first book, it'd be easier to write about home, so.
Now, part of the inspiration, I'm judging that some of the characters are based on maybe a few people you might know.
Right, yeah, a lot of the characters are based on friends and family members, and I never really told them who they are, but they've kind of figured it out, so.
Yeah, I was going to say, what's the response when you say, hey, you should read this, and they sit there and go, wait a minute, that's me.
Yeah. Well, some of the ones actually didn't pick themselves out, I guess, but everybody else knew who they were, so.
So what were you picking some traits on that they didn't think really applied to them?
Right, yeah.
Well, now, how did you actually, because you actually went to a conference, really, that was kind of what got you started in actually writing the book?
Right, I had started writing here and there, and I'd written pieces over the course of several years, and last August I went to the GlitchCon convention in Bentonville, Arkansas, and I got to meet author Kevin J. Anderson, and I guess just listening to him talk and whatever had inspired me, I went straight home and started over from scratch, and pretty much did nothing but write for 3 months till it was done.
Yeah, and I think really what's interesting about this is because the fact that you've got so many characters, and you talked about the vampires and the werewolves and whatnot. You've got so much backstory that you've actually put together a bunch of other short stories that kind of give a backstory to some of the characters in the book.
Yeah, there were things that, because everybody has a backstory, I didn't want to just start this character from now. I mean, stuff's happened in his life that brought him to where he's at today. So there's some foreshadowing and some backstory stuff that needs to happen, and I went back and wrote some short stories that kind of tell some of his background, and some of the kind of makes more sense now that if you've actually read the story. So.
Right. And planned sequel?
Yes, there will be a sequel.
Okay. Have you already started working on it, or are you still in the early planning stages?
Early planning stages. I've actually been working on other things. I finished another book that's completely different, and I'm like halfway through another one. So.
Now, as a first-time author, how much of a learning experience was this whole from start to finished product?
I have learned more in the last year about writing and publishing and all of it than I could have even imagined. Of course, last year, I mean, a year ago today, I wouldn't have known that I would be standing here at this point,
talking about
my book being published.
And what's cool is actually you've got a book signing coming up, so people have a chance to maybe talk with you about the book.
That's right. Yep.
Tell us when and where that's all taking place.
That is going to be this Saturday at Always Buying Books here in Joplin.
Yeah, Bob's usually always good about having you know, local authors at the store, so definitely stop on by there, pick up a copy of the book. And do you have any advice for people who maybe are in that same situation where they've got an idea, it's been with them for years, and they just need that
The best thing I can tell you is just do it. You'll have more fun than you could imagine just getting it done.
And how's the response been for you so far?
It's been really great. It's been great. I've had a lot of great support, and a lot of people have seemed really interested in the book. A lot of people really like it. So. And
actually, where can people pick up a copy of the book? Obviously at the bookstore.
Yeah, you can get it at Bob's, Always Buying Books. You can get it on Amazon, barnesandnoble.com. You can go directly to my website, phillipdrayerduncan.com.
Okay, and of course we'll put all that information on our website at fourstateshomepage.com. And by all means, if you're definitely into the genre of wizards, but you're looking for something a little bit different, definitely pick this up. Again, the name of the book is called A Fist of Thorns. Phillip Drayer Duncan joining us this morning. We thank you for taking the time.
Thank you for having me.
We've got more coming up on Good Morning Four States. A quick check of your forecast is up next.